1 and 2.
May nothing evil cross this door, and may affliction never cry about these windows, may the roar and rainbow by. By keeping strong the rafters will stand the battering of the storm. This earth for all the world will cheer, will keep you warm.
Well, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Ogden. My name is Davison, and I'm going to be your worship associate today. We love having people of all ages in our community, and as you came in, you may have noticed we have some baskets of activities for old and young fingers that like to stay busy. Also, we are glad to have you here, and we strive to create a loving, inclusive, and compassionate community. One way for you to connect with us, or us to connect with you, is to let us know you're here. So if we have any newcomers, please fill out a newcomer card in the back of the pews, and you can put it in the offering basket during our offering ceremony. And that way we can add you to the email list and to our newsletter to help you keep up with all the goings and comings of our
So
congregation.
who's here? I'm here. How about you?
We're all here. We're all
Woo!
okay. All right, thank you, Suzanne. All right, now please keep them. So we ask that you are more than happy to share the messages online and in social media that you hear today, but please make sure that your phones are on worship mode. Thank you. And we are all glad that each and every one of you is here today. Welcome. Okay, so our opening reading today is by the renowned, we're to use that word today, but the wonderful poet Mary Oliver. I like to joke that as Unitarian Universalists, the only thing we can agree on that qualifies as scripture is the poetry of Mary Oliver. This particular poem is called Sleeping in the Forest. I thought the earth remembered me. She took me back so tenderly, arranging her dark skirts, her pockets full of lichens and seeds. I slept as never before, a stone on the riverbed, nothing between me and the white fire of the stars, but my thoughts, and they floated light as moths among the branches of the perfect trees. All night I heard the small kingdoms breathing around me, the insects and the birds who do their work in the darkness. All night I rose and fell, as if in water, grappling with a luminous doom. By morning, I had vanished at least a dozen times into something better.
please join us in singing from the great hymnal, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. Again, that's the great hymnal, number 360, Here We Have Gathered. Verses 1 and 3.
Today, Ashley, who is Kingfisher, who's going to be helping us out as part of helping with our Good Trouble Sunday. She's going to help coordinating those today, and I know some of you had the opportunity to welcome Ashley to our congregation and to introduce yourselves, but she's going to introduce our guest speakers today.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to see you all. Well, it's a pleasure to introduce from Weber State the team who has worked on the SPARC house, the sustainability house that's just located across the street. We will be hearing from Bonnie and Alyssa and Kaylee today as we explore this concept of sustainability with them and the meanings behind it. So without further ado,
Well, thank you so much for having us here. We really appreciate the invitation to come and speak to you today. It was a delight to get that. My name is Bonnie Christiansen, and I work at Weber State University in the Sustainability Practices and Research Center. And we work on, as we work through this, the Sustainability Practices and Research Center is a group of people that work at Weber State specifically on sustainability in academics, and then also in engaging our community and engaging with our campus as well. And so one of the things that we've done, and I don't know if that we could just, yeah, we can just go to the next one, that would be great as well. So we have had this great opportunity as we have been moving through our sustainability process, is we have really found a way to incorporate sustainability at our campus writ large. And one of the things that we realized that we needed to do, even if we meet our sustainability goals, it just doesn't make enough of an impact for it to really make a meaningful difference. So we've gone out and we have gotten a grant and worked with the university as well to acquire the home across the street as a sustainability demonstration home. We're super excited for this because it really is a way for us to engage the community and take the lessons that we've learned at Weber State in general about energy efficiency, electrification, and renewable energy, and reducing our climate footprint, and hopefully getting to zero sometime here soon, and incorporate them at a residential level so that we can start working with our community on that front. And so our team here has grown a lot. About a year and a half ago, we were, maybe 2 years ago, we were 1 full-time staff, a half-time director, and a couple of students. And we've expanded now, and we will continue to expand. We're going to have about a dozen people on our team. So So kind of the basis of what we're working from as we do this is we're really helping to reduce our emissions. Oh, thanks. We're just looking to help reduce our emissions, both on campus. And as we have done this, we have kind of established 3 major goals for the university at large. And one of those are helping us get to this thing called STARS Gold. And STARS is a system through the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education. And it stands for the Sustainability Tracking and Rating System. And it is a comprehensive look at sustainability. It looks at operations, it looks at academics, it looks at our engagement and if we're engaging our communities. It also looks at our policies and administrations, like are we having equitable pay across the university? I mean, things that you wouldn't maybe necessarily think about when you think about sustainability, but they're looking at it from the economic, the social, and the environmental aspects. And so we're looking at that. We had a goal to reach that by 2025, and we reached it 1 year in advance, which was in 2024, so we were super excited about that. Also, on our operations side, operations is really kind of where our sustainability ideals started to be grounded, right? We started looking at, our president then, in 2007 of the university made a goal to be carbon neutral by 2050 for the university. And our operations team was like, how are we gonna do this? But they really took on the challenge and they started making some major advancements. And they've been working really hard to reduce our emissions. We've reduced our emissions by over 40% to date from a 2009 baseline. But the nice thing about that is as we've been doing that, we've been looking at it in terms of how do we do this in a way that gives us good return on investment so we can keep moving our ball forward. And so far through that process, we've saved over $30 million just by being more energy efficient, electrifying our buildings, and then sourcing renewables. And we'll continue that. We will probably be able to turn off our steam-powered gas plants by 2040. Mm-hmm. So we think we're going to reach this a decade ahead of schedule. And because this was working so well for us, we were just like, this is something that we really need to share writ large in our community, and especially with people that maybe don't have the means to do what we're doing, right? We had a $5 million revolving loan fund, and we're really savvy about the way we were moving forward. But we realized in our Weber State strategic plan 5 years ago, we made a commitment to help our entire region strive for carbon neutrality by 2050. We probably won't meet that goal exactly, like everybody will be carbon neutral, but we want everybody pulling in the same direction. And so part of that was this SPARC Home for Sustainable Living. We realized that some people have the means to do this and others do not. So we're kind of taking a two-pronged approach here, where we're trying to do both serving our low-income, disadvantaged community members that maybe have not had the means or the education to move this forward in their own residential homes, but also municipalities that maybe don't have the funds to do this as well, is helping them find ways that we can work with them. So looking at that. Also, I think through this, we got a grant through the federal government, which we still have, thank you very much. We're hoping we'll keep it, but it's really helping us staff up this home over across the street. It's a sustainability demonstration home. It looks like any other home on the block, but it has a very different story.
Is it on Harrison?
That's
right across the
literally
street.
right across the street from here. It's the gray house with the purple doors. So, and after we can go and take a look at that. But we're really excited about sharing this with our residents. We're going to be doing tours there and workshops. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Melissa and let her tell you a little bit about more how we're seeing the big picture of this.
So we did look into your mission here at the Unitarian Church, and we completely align with your beliefs in the interdependence of all living things, and that's kind of what grounds our work in sustainability too, is that belief. This quote really resonated with us. Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. And that's really the basis of everything we do in sustainability. So we acknowledge that this interdependence relies on human connections, and that can be a form of web, just like an ecological web and an environmental web. There's a human connection web. And these human connections are vital to help meet the basic needs of community members and support thriving communities. So it's kind of looking beyond sustainability and how do we help people just meet their basic needs. And that's important in energy work, which is what we're doing here at the SPARC home. An energy grid is also kind of like a web. So you can see the solar grid across the whole United States. An energy web is an interconnected web of giving and sharing energy, whether it's solar, electricity, or another type of energy. So when a neighbor's connection to the web is not as strong, you can think of a leaky house that lets air in or out, poor insulation, or a poorly functioning furnace. The whole web actually suffers because that person has to take more from the web to supplement their loss of heat, or has to pay more for their utility bills, so they aren't able to meet their basic needs. So we're really trying to meet those needs of our community members and make sure that we have a strong functioning web. And this is just what it looks like in Utah as well. So I'm gonna hand it to Kaylee to talk about the practical work that we're doing in the house and in the community.
Okay, so as Alyssa has talked about these webs, our work, we really want to work on strengthening these webs. So I was just going to go a little bit into some of the direct work that we're doing at the home. So all of our work is kind of grounded in community engagement. And so that means we don't just want to be pushing ourselves onto community members. We want to be working with residents to hear what they need and what they want instead of just assuming. We want to be kind of exchanging those ideas and thoughts with the community through all of our work. Yes?
Do you have people on staff that are experts in measuring the efficiency of homes? Because it seems to me like you gotta find those homes. Is that what you're doing, or do you have those people?
Yeah, so we are actually working on hiring someone called an energy navigator, which will be a really key part of our team. They'll be working directly with community members to do like one-on-one consultations. So they will have that base of like energy knowledge, the technical knowledge for those systems, and help give advice to community members. Yeah.
So Pete and I have an electric lawnmower,
Mm-hmm.
and we got our solar panels, really with you guys. So my question, I forgot what it was.
Can you hook up your electric lawnmower to your solar panels? Is that what your question is? Solar lawnmower?
No. Damn it, I'll ask it later.
Okay, no worries. Let me know when it comes back to you.
I understand we might have a Q&A, so.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have a Q&A then, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So some of the things that we're working on right now are house tours, which you guys will all have the opportunity to come over to the house after service today to go through a house tour with us. And so that will be where community members can come in and learn about the different technologies in the home and kind of get introduced to some other things we have going on as well, such as energy efficiency DIY workshops. So that's kind of targeting those lower income disadvantaged communities so they can also have the opportunity to do stuff for energy efficiency. So the community members will come into the home, we'll teach them how to do all these lower cost DIY installs such as like weather stripping, like low flow shower heads. We'll teach them how to do those installs, and then we also give them the free supplies so they can go do that in their home. We're also planning to do some other educational workshops, maybe like some contractor panels, so people who have specific questions about like HVAC systems could come in and learn those things from us before doing those installs in their homes. We also are, like I talked about the Energy Navigator, that's our big piece with connecting community members to resources and rebates. They'll be our point of contact to individual community members who want to find out how they can save money, what the specific systems for their home will be, and those kinds of questions. So that'll be a huge part of our program. Oh, perfect. Okay. And then I want to talk a little bit about the future of our work. So as we have our staff members who are really boots on the ground doing this work, that's great, but we also want this work to continue without us being directly there to be doing these things. And so how we really want to do that is through volunteers and community members who are already part of the community and connected to people that can keep this work going. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, some opportunities for community members to be part of this experience. But this kind of just connects to our larger goal of reducing emissions, improving air quality, and really striving for those healthier Utah communities. There we go. So this is kind of our opportunity for you guys to get involved, how you can help if you're interested. And so we're looking for some people who would maybe be interested in joining some energy teams. This is something where we'll have a group of 2 to 7 people who are really working tight-knit together to help people along their personal energy journeys. So this would be community members who've installed solar panels in their house, like you mentioned here, and want to help other people do those same things. And we're also really hoping that maybe your congregation here would be interested in helping us pilot that program. We also have an opportunity for block leaders. So that would be just individual community members who've installed things in their homes that are willing to share that information with general community members who have questions. And that's a really important part of keeping the community connected and strengthening those webs. We also have some opportunities for workshop volunteers as we go through those DIY energy efficiency workshops. We might need people to help distribute supplies, facilitate group discussions, that kind of volunteer opportunities. And then really a big ask is just to help us spread the word about this community and all the work that we're doing to try and get people interested and wanting to come and work in our home. We also, as we've talked about our local Ogden community, are planning to do this work statewide. So if anyone has any connections in rural areas in Utah, that's a big focus of my work. We'd love to chat with you about that kind of a thing and how you think that could work with us. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening. Here's just a little contact slide so you guys can get in contact with us. I'm sure we can send this to you guys so you can have a more physical copy of this. But thank you guys so much, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them now. Yes?
Sorry to bother you twice.
Oh, no problem.
How do you get the names of people who might want their houses evaluated?
So a lot of our work is going to come through connections with community organizations and them helping us spread the word. So we're already working on some local partnerships, Ogden Community Action Network, is that right? To help spread the word there. So the services that they're providing people, they can recommend people to us, but also like a group like you guys, if you know people who are interested in someone having their home evaluated, you could send them our way. So we're really just trying to spread that web through the community to get people to come to us.
And I think on that front, we're working on both looking at that low-income disadvantaged community, what's called Light Act communities, and the grants that we received on that front. And we do have a lot of partners. We're looking at working with OCAP and OCAN and a couple different groups there, right? But it really is, when we look at those social webs, it's the social webs by which we were going to be able to go out and meet with people and work with people on that front. But there's another piece of this as well, and that is kind of the market transformation front. And that market transformation front really focuses more on people that may have more resources, whether it's time or funding to do maybe some of these bigger projects. One of the things that we've done at Weber State is that electrification process, right? And that was because when we looked at how do we get to carbon neutrality, and we couldn't get there if we were still heating and our buildings with natural gas. So we're like, okay, we need to move into electrification. And we're using variable flow, or VRF, variable flow refrigerant heat pump systems. So we want to start working with our community that maybe as the furnaces go out or something like that, they can make a plan ahead of time to move to these heat pump systems, because we can actually power those with renewable energy. So we're looking at that front as well, because I worked on kind of helping people get solar installed back in 2012 and going forward on community programs. And what we found is that initially the upfront technological knowledge and then also just the costs were higher at that point in time to install these systems. But as people started adopting them at a mass level, it transforms the market, right? So we really are looking at that two-prong approach, both making sure we're looking at market transformation type events and projects, but also looking at just even working with people that have leaky windows and how do we help them get those just taken care of immediately.
This is small, but there's always a lot of geese on the fields feeding. So I've always wondered if you feed the geese intentionally with seed or what?
You know, that brings us to a beautiful conversation around renewable energy, strangely enough. And that is, we don't intentionally feed the geese because they leave a lot of droppings on the fields, and it makes it really hard when our sports teams go out and play. So we put out, they decided the best way to address that is they have this dog-looking wolf thing, and it's a pretend one, and they'll stick it in the fields to try and not get them to go to the bathroom on the fields. But underneath those fields, many of those fields, we actually have renewable energy systems. We are heating and cooling.
Oh, so it's warm.
Yeah, and we're just taking the ambient temperature of the ground to heat and cool our campus. So if you get about 8 feet underground in any place in the world, your temperature is going to be approximately 55 to 57 degrees. Well, if you're cooling a campus or a home, you can use that temperature to cool. But in the winter, when it's 32 degrees outside, hopefully, right, we can then go ahead and have that ambient temperature, and we start heating at that 55 to 57 degrees, and then we just need to make up a little bit instead of a lot.
So do you have any geothermal wells?
Yes, we have hundreds of them.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, and it's geothermal, not making electricity, but just using the core temperature of the earth to help us heat and cool.
So I thought, is this the same house like a couple years back? I seem to remember it was sold to a private, okay. And yeah, what happened with that and how did this transition to the university take place?
If you want to do that, sure.
So a family came, and the model that we were going for was we would build a home, a net zero home. A family could move in, and then we would use the profits to go ahead and make another home. If you were all here in 2020, the home prices went from here to here. It was great if you owned a home, but not if you didn't. And so that model kind of broke down. So when the family decided that they wanted to move and go to a different area, they offered the home back to Weber State to purchase, and it was perfect timing for this program because we were looking for a home to demonstrate, and we were originally going to do retrofit a home, but we decided because this home was available, it was something that our students had worked on, that would be the home that we would work and base ourselves out of.
So I have 3 questions. One is, you mentioned OCAP and OCAN. If
Yes.
you can maybe tell us what that is.
Oh, thank you.
The second one is, I'm not clear yet on the boundaries of this project. Ogden, Weber County, so boundaries. And then the third question is, how do you see solar companies being able to partner in or be part of what you're doing?
Great. So on that first question, OCAN is Ogden Community Action Network, and Amy, who's sitting there, I won't put you on the spot too much, Amy, except for she's in the audience with us here today, and she works with OCAN, and they're really focused on helping lift the Ogden East Central neighborhood, which is like from 20th to 30th, Washington to Harrison, and working in that community already. They have fellows that are doing projects there, so we're partnering with them because they're already in the community and working with the community. OCAP, is the Ogden Weber Community Action Partnership, and they are a group that's funded through the federal funding. There's the CAP part, the Community Action Partnerships. There's one in many, many of the counties all around the country, and they really look at what are the community needs that are in their local areas, and they address those. So it's a place where Head Start is held, where they have education nights for adults and different things like that. So they're very integrated into the community as well already. And then there's other programs like HEAT, which is I don't even know what the acronym for HEAT is, but it's a place where people that need to help in paying their utilities can go and work and get funds through there. So we're connecting with the groups that are already connected with people in the LIDAC communities. And then kind of a part of that LIDAC is disadvantaged communities, and those are communities that may have high pollution rates but have been underserved in the past. And so I'll let you talk about scope.
Yeah, so our project is just kind of starting out, which is why I think maybe it doesn't seem super clear on where we're headed yet, because we haven't quite gotten there yet, but we're working on it. But we do have kind of a local focused program to start out with, and then my job will be to bring that more statewide, because our goals of helping the region strive for carbon neutrality by 2050 is really kind of extended to Utah as our region. So I'll be working on more of that statewide piece.
So
yeah.
when you say region, what does that mean?
Utah. That's our
Okay,
region for now, yes,
means
yeah.
Utah. Okay, thank you.
So hopefully everywhere.
And then the solar companies, how you see solar companies maybe being able to be part of this.
Yeah, and I think solar companies, HVAC companies, there's a lot of different companies that we want to partner with. And that is when we're hosting these workshops, we want to bring new technologies forward. And I'm the first to say that technology isn't the only solution. A lot of the solutions come from us as individuals, right? But when there are those actual technologies that we're looking at, some of the things that we're hoping to do is bring some of those groups together to host workshops about their technologies, so the community writ large can hear, not just from one solar company that's knocking on your door, right? But people that can give an overview of the technologies themselves, and then pairing that with the Energy Navigator. So people really have an opportunity to be versed in any of those technologies. And one that is brand new that I'm super excited about that has just come to Utah. Utah actually was one of the first to make it legal that we could work on this project, is something called balcony solar, and it is literally a plug-and-play system that you can take with you. So that is something that we'll be educating people about as well. So super excited about that. That's new since Christmas, basically.
The goal of solar companies is to make money.
Yes.
And so they go to the areas that, are a little more affluent, or at least a little more have the ability to pay what they are charging. Ogden is an old city. I'm not saying that negatively because I was born and raised here, but I'm wondering if you partner with them, more needs to be done than just putting solar panels on the roof of some of these older houses. They have that, I guess, that Energy Navigator you're talking about has got to get in there at the same time to look at other things like windows. That's very important. Insulation in attics. Power companies could be brought into this too, because they offer incentives. So, and I've taken advantage of every one of those, and it's expensive. It's going to take that web that you're talking about is going to have to be really effective to do that, especially here in the downtown area of Ogden.
And I'm so happy that you bring that to the fore, because we will have one Energy Navigator that can help have those conversations. But it's also super helpful for people to talk to others who have already been through this process. It sounds like you've looked at the incentives, you've worked with the utility company and things like that. So we are looking for these people to be a leader in the community. So we can definitely help people, but only so much, right? And then for us to be able to know of other people in the community that may have already done these things to their homes, it would be great if we could have a network where we could say, oh, it looks like George has already done this on his home and you're interested in doing it, just facilitating some conversations. So there really can be this web. We have have this grant and we're through October of 2029. We're very cognizant of that, and we're going to be raising funds so that we can continue this program going forward. But no matter what happens, there's been so much uncertainty around a lot of different things, right? And we want to make sure that we're building in a way where there's communities that can run with this just as well as we are bringing it forward. So we're seeing ourselves as a support system to create these spaces where people can have the ability to work with others. Is that our time?
No.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay.
And if you think of any more, I mean, we will be having coffee hour at the house after this, so feel free to come and just chat with us there.
I just want to say, this sounds so exciting and I'm so happy to learn about it.
Thank you. As we continue with our service today, we invite everyone to come forward to engage in our weekly ritual that helps us to collectively hold the challenges and joys of being human. As you light a candle, let it hold your hopes, memories, and gratitudes for this beautiful, complicated world and for our lives. And as you drop a stone of burden in our sacred gathered waters, may it be an opportunity to imagine those burdens and quests for forgiveness held in a community that will let the stone land with care and intention. Please come forward. offering is a practice of gratitude for the community filled with care and courage, love and resilience. We commit to keeping this community resourced for the help of our ministries ahead and our work ahead, both in our walls and beyond. The offering we collect each week supports us in being the community that can best respond to our needs at these challenging times. As we collect our offering today, we remember our interconnectedness that can best respond to those around us and our hopes. And we generously offer our care with hopes to support all of those around us. Please rise and body your voice and facing the center aisle, sing together the offering words printed in your order of service. Your abundant generosity is a part of modeling love and care, so thank you. Okay. Our announcement today is that we will be having coffee hour across the street at the SPARC home. And it's 2807 Quincy Adams, so it's the gray house across the street with the purple door. Okay. That is and now we're going to have our closing hymn is 348, Guide My Feet, and we'll be singing all verses. Jump the gun on you, Jocelyn.
Guide my feet while I run this race.
The joy of a small congregation, we wear lots of hats. Okay, so as our service comes to an end today, please join me in saying the chalice extinguishing words in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. Our benediction today is once again a poem by Mary Oliver. And it's Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family.